Now this is very interesting. I took a clip from YouTube, and Jim Carrey had an insight, and I love what he said.
Woke up and I suddenly got it. I understood suddenly how thought was just an illusory thing, and how thought is responsible for, if not all, most of the suffering we experience. And then I suddenly felt like I was looking at these thoughts from another perspective, and I wondered, who is it that's aware that I'm thinking? And suddenly I was thrown into this expansive, amazing feeling of freedom from myself, from my problems. I saw that I was bigger than what I do. I was bigger than my body. I was everything and everyone. I was no longer a fragment of the universe. I was the universe.
One very interesting point which I noticed is that we don't really control this event, do we? I mean, suddenly Jim Carrey, he experienced such a phenomenon. And he didn't ask for it. Somehow suddenly it happened to him. And I wonder why. And so it is with my life too. I didn't ask for it. When I was a boy at the age of 14, somewhere there, I was in school. And it was the first time that I felt it too. And I didn't ask for it. And I was just a boy, and I don't even know myself at that time, not a single idea who I am, except that I know that I have to go to school every day, and that my teacher has got to teach me, and that when my teacher asks me to do anything, I will do, and there isn't the slightest idea that I could do something different from what the teacher tells me to do at that time. I was just seated in the classroom, and there was a teacher in front of me. And then suddenly, instead of looking at the teacher, I began to be aware of a presence that is looking at me and is also looking at the teacher. And in a way, I was quite shocked. But I couldn't comprehend what is taking place. I couldn't understand. And that was the first time. But then it didn't just happen once. It came back again and again on other days. When I least suspected, suddenly I began to be aware of a presence looking at me and looking at the world around me. At the time, I was not an inquisitive person. I didn't ask questions. I didn't want to know why or how or what. I simply accepted it as a phenomena that cannot be understood. But it came to me at a point when I was just a 14-year-old boy. And at that time, being a boy, I have to tell you that I don't really know my personality whatsoever, right? In a way, I don't have an identity. Yes, although people call me David Chu, but I do not attach myself to an identity. And it was at this point in time when whatever the teacher were to tell me, I would do. Whatever my parents tell me, I would do. I'm kind of a very obedient boy in the sense that if the teacher were to ask me to stand up, I would stand up. If he asked me to sit down, I would sit down. Even if he asked me to face the wall, I would probably face the wall. I won't know how to resist at that age of mine. And very interestingly, as I observe it from now at this age, looking back in time, I began to realize that perhaps it was because there was a lack of personality in me at that time, that the presence began to be able to announce himself to me. I'm not sure what actually happened. Perhaps it was because I never exerted any self whatsoever during those times, that suddenly I began to see a world from a different perspective from what I used to be. And at that time, I didn't know who I am. I didn't know who this David Chu is, or even. Whatever I am is what I was told to believe. Right? If my parents told me something about me, I simply absorbed it at that point in time. So whatever that was told to me, I believe. And there was no self-assertion, and as a result, I absorbed everything that is taking place. But interestingly, when this presence came in my life, it gave me some kind of a new perspective. That's what I was trying to emphasize here. Suddenly, I began to be aware that this person, boy, this David Shield, is not exactly the boy that is me. There's somewhere within me, there's another me, and that me, which is a deeper me, is a me that is not what the teacher says to me. It is a me that's not what the parents tell me. It's a me which my parents don't even know. It began to dawn on me. I continue to do exactly what everything is taking place in my life, but in and out, it came again and again. I move along like the wind that blows at me. That's right, I don't have a personality, so to speak. I don't have a ability to say no to another person. I just simply yes, 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 that's all. It's strange, I don't understand myself at that time, but that's what's happening. And it was the first time that I felt a strange freedom. Am I really in this world, or am I not? And that's how I grew up with. And in a way, you may say that I'm religious, because my parents told me what to believe. So I believe whatever my parents tell me to believe. And I follow through life without much questioning. And so all that I believed at that time, I took it with great honesty and truth. But yet there's someone inside that tells me that I'm me, and that David Chu is David Chu, and not me. I went to the army after school days, and the physical training was too strong for me, so I couldn't take it. There was a resistance at that point in time, and it was at that point in time when I began to exert some kind of force that is a self of mine, because I couldn't take the training, so I had to exert something about me. And so I felt a David Chu that is becoming more and more on its own. So when I crossed the age of 21 and began to sense a personality that I have, then I decided that what kind of career that I should be, or what kind of courses that I must take in school, in the university I'm in, and lived my life. But I'm still a religious person, because all that I have believed, when my parents told me to believe, I had believed. And my life, whatever that is in my thoughts and thinking, was shaped extremely by what is taking place in my youth. And during this period, I was attending churches. And because I was someone who believed what they believed, I began to be able to preach in the church. Yeah, that's right. They liked me talking, and so I began to talk. And I began to exert myself more and more. I'm a Christian, I said to them. I am a believer of God, I said to them, and that God has saved me, and that He has changed my life. I said that many, many times at the pulpit on the church. I've encouraged many people to go into Christianity because I'm kind of a good speaker, you say. So in this push that I have relating to my self-assertion, I forgot about the me that I had experienced before. And then suddenly something happened in my life. My father passed away. And with that passing, I felt a tremendous death in me, together with a weakened body, as I mentioned many times in my video. It is during this weakened body that suddenly there's a push out, I would say. 3 angels began to speak to me and told me that you can get out of all this. You can speak in between the yin and yang. You can speak between life and death. You don't have to be part of everything. And although the angels told me what to do at that time, and I did what the angels told me to meditate and to follow my thoughts, I didn't really felt the me inside. Although I know that there's somebody out there, but I didn't really feel and touch the me inside. So, but as I continued to meditate, as the years passed by, as I said in my videos, it was a sudden moment when one day when I observed my thoughts, from myself, observing my thoughts, that I noticed that the thoughts turned black, myself becoming black. And this is where I touched me. Wow. I felt that the purpose of life and everything that I had gone through in life is just a story. It is me, which is the very purpose that I was born for. When I touch me, all life changes. And that's the reason why I make these videos. And that death experience that I had was very, very important. Because somehow the self-assertion that I thought I was, the David Hugh that had played his role preaching in church, suddenly died as a result of a weakened body. And because everything is weakening, even my belief system, I sense within me a rising of the true me. That's when the angel told me that I need now to meditate, to observe my thoughts. Because it is very important that I got to touch me and not simply believe in me. So, all my life, I had believed in an idea or me, right? And that idea strengthened itself after 21. And this idea of me made me forget of the me that very often came to me in my youth. But somehow the universe didn't leave me alone. The angels came, reminded me that I have to do something to throw away everything that I had believed about myself. And that's why I'm doing it now, to tell you about it too. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that all that you think about yourself right now is a pure lie. All the experiences that you think you are engaging in, even the accumulations that you have, is of no use until the day you touch me. Because touching David Chu doesn't make a difference in my life. Yes, it doesn't. Going to university, having a name, being a preacher in churches doesn't make a difference. Was I really happy then? No. I believe I was happy. That's true. I believe that I had changed my life because Jesus came to me. I believe that sincerely and was very honest about it. I told the congregation that I had changed, and they believed what I said. I'm not dishonest at all. I don't know. I don't know the deeper part of me. I was just engaged in a dream, so to speak, in a David Chu which I thought and I built up in my, after 21 years, which I built up during the army days. A David Chu which resists the world. A David Chu which is strong enough to say that I'm here, that I'm going to change my career. I'm going to study this, I'm going to study that. But it's still not the me. That's what I'm trying to stress out to you. It's still not the me that I'm touching today. Because this me which I touch today is a very happy me. I don't have to believe anymore in anything to make me happy. I don't have to throw away ideas even to make me happy. Ideas cannot grip me. Ideas have no strength over me. Why? Because I know that ideas is not me. So because of that, I could live as me. And I'm encouraging you to do that. What I want to stress is that your assertion, your self-assertion is not necessary. Your self-assertion to say that I am here, to tell your friends that I'm here, that I have thoughts and I have ideas, and that you're going to believe in what I say. Your self-assertion to say that I have a career, that I'm successful. Your self-assertion to tell your wife that I'm here, that you need to have a relationship with me, you need to love me. All these assertions, they're leading you away from the true me. It has happened in my life. I forgot about the me that spoke to me in my youth. I created a new David Chu, so to speak. But it's of no use. The universe have to reverse for me. For some reason, my father passed away, I had to die. That's right. That David Chu that I know had to die. And a rising will come from within me, of the true me. And when I touched the true me, I found everything that is me. And the greatest joy that I had, which today I'm having, every moment. And it doesn't matter whether I have this or that, or whatever. Because it is me. It's just like me holding myself. Don't you feel happy when you hold yourself? Don't you feel happy when you hold your child in your hand? I'm sure you do. You don't have to explain anything. The world may be unhappy to you, but when you hold your own child, are you happy? Of course you are. So that's what it means. When you hold me, you are very happy. And that is success. And when you hold your child in your hand, do you have to self-assert to be happy? When you're holding your child in your hand, are you thinking about your career and everything else? Do you need to be happy? No. That child in your hand is happiness to you. That's the point I'm trying to stress all the time. Get to the me. It is the reason for everything, the purpose of every living. That's right. I am is the way, the truth, and the life. No man goes to God but by the me. Don't get me wrong. Before I close this video, I have to make it very clear. Now, self-assertion is very important. Don't get me wrong then. You see, when I was a boy, I have no self-assertion whatsoever. And because I have no self-assertion at all, if my teacher were to tell me to face the wall, I would just face the wall. I don't exert anything of myself when I was a boy. But I'm not asking you not to self-assert. It is important to self-assert. For otherwise, you'd just be like a boy that will face a wall if the teacher were to tell you to do that. You can't do that. You got to self-assert. That's right. So I'm not asking you to go to a monastery or to go to a mountain and just live a life secluded and don't face the world and withdraw yourself completely. That's not a good life. You have to self-assert. But the point I need to emphasize here is that you have to touch me. Because without touching me, the self-assertion is a kind of illusion. Without touching me, all the self-assertion that you have is only creating unhappiness. It may direct your life, that's true. It may create a good career for yourself with all those self-assertion, that's fine. But without touching me, is there happiness? That's the point I'm trying to drive at. You will notice, very interestingly, right, there's a difference between self-assertion and I am. Isn't that right? Some of my friends are very confused by it. They say that I am is self-assertion. No. Self-assertion is a stress that you have to create to assert your identity in this world. Self-assertion is important because otherwise you will not make any headway in this world that you are required to live and have a journey with. So self-assertion is important. But self-assertion is an illusion because it never touched me at all. Self-assertion, you can do whatever you like in this world, but you're still not there. Very important, you're still not there, even with all the self-assertions that you have. And you can never be happy because you're not touching yourself. You're not being real. Let me lead you there. It's a very sad thing, but it's a fact. We assert ourselves, we assert our identity so that we can be around in this world. Right? But that identity which you assert, if it's only a mental idea of yourself, it's still an illusion. And you're still not there. And no matter what you're doing in this world, who is doing it for you, you'll be asking yourself, you're still not there. You got to be real, and you got to touch me so that I can be there. That's the most important thing of all. Before I close, I want to say that there is a thin line between self-assertion and I am. Self-assertion is very, very important. If you don't know that I am, retain that self-assertion. Because otherwise, like myself, if someone told me to face the wall, I would face the wall. Because when I was a boy, I don't have a self-assertion. I don't have an identity which I created for myself. Today I have an identity called David Chiu, which I have created. But that identity which I have created, David Chiu, is just a mental idea. But somehow the universe opened the door for me to discover I am. And when I touched my presence, I felt good about it. But if you haven't touched your presence, then it is important that you self-assert. Because without assertion with yourself, how are you going to move in your career? How are you going to decide what to do in your life? Without that self-assertion, yes, that's right. How are you going to decide what is your next step to take? So you need to have self-assertion. There are those who tell you don't self-assert. But if you don't self-assert and you follow certain religions which tell you not to self-assert, then you probably live in a monastery, you become a celibate, you don't have children, and where are you? So please, my good friend, you need to self-assert. That's true. So when a friend of mine tells me that God loves me, I tell him that's a good thing, because at least that God of yours is giving you a sense of dignity and pride to continue to live in this world. It's a good thing, I said. And if your religion tells you that your sins are forgiven, that your karma is broken, or that you don't have a karma at all, I said, good. It gives you the ability to have pride in yourself that you're still a good man, and that you can go on to live in this world, produce children, have meaning in this world. Yes. But if somebody were to tell you, be a celibate, forget about yourself completely, I tell you, please don't be kid by him. Don't be fooled. You need to take care of yourself. However, I will always tell you, please discover a presence greater than what you are, a me that is greater than all the thinking that you have about yourself. If you can, follow my videos. Let me lead you to true happiness.